chemically sensitive. That's the new word on the internet.
And I'm chemically sensitive.
It's probably the same people that have a gluten allergy. You know, they can't eat a sandwich. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're installing pre-finished white oak hardwood flooring. Looks just like this. The boxes have been open and acclimating for about a week in that room over there. So we shouldn't have any problems. It's 3/4 inch solid white oak pre-finished tongue and groove. A lot of ways to skin this cat. If it looks good, it is good. Right now I'm in the process of just cleaning up the floor, going around on my hands and knees, vacuuming, looking for any more of those staples. This is part 2 of this kitchen renovation. Part 1 will be linked in the description. There's also a playlist that's also linked in the description so you can watch all the videos. The entire perimeter is going to be covered except for a little walkway right there and this area. So this is kind of the most exposed area. And when you're laying out flooring, if you start good on one side, a lot of times the house walls transitions aren't parallel to each other. So you got to take some measurements. I'm going to take some width measurements. I'm going to get a center line as a reference point that I can constantly check as I move across the room. You can even switch directions. You can start this in the middle of the room and you nail that way. And then you can go back to the middle of the room, install one of these guys, just like that, and then start nailing, just butts in just like that to the groove and start nailing that way. I'm going to do quite a bit of face nailing underneath the cabinets here. I got to check my layout, make sure I don't face nail out here. There is some T-transition that goes with this flooring that will cover up some face nails that'll go on the edge. I got to do some jigsawing around the doors, but overall this should only take a few hours. There's a lot of preparation. The installation, the quality of the installation or how it visually looks is all in your preparation. Cleaning out the floor. I'm going to be using red rosin paper. Some people use tar paper. These days, people are very chemically sensitive. That's the new word on the internet.
And I'm chemically sensitive.
It's probably the same people that have a gluten allergy. You know, they can't eat a sandwich. In the middle of this video, we're going to talk about felt paper, red rosin paper, all the underlayments for this application. And a lot of people are going to get all stirred up in the comments over it. I'll see you halfway through the video and we're going to talk about this felt paper underlayment, rosin paper underlayment, and the myths surrounding it. Got a quick announcement. I know a lot of you who watch my channel are in this line of work. You're remodeling houses, you're fixing houses, you have your own business. And I also know a lot of you use Jobber, just like I do. They have an online summit called Jobber Summit. It is March 6th. I'll leave a link in the description so you can click on it and get signed up. It's free, it's continuing education. There's advice, business strategies for small businesses that are in the home services industry. Link will be in the description. Back to the video. So here's an example of how I have it laid out. Cabinets come to 121 inches, which is right there. So all this is going to be covered. And you're only going to see from here over. The door is going to be closed. I'll have to do some custom stuff for that stair nosing. Now I measure from this board here, the very first one, from there all the way to the drywall around the refrigerator. And then I took a measurement all the way on the other side of the door. And we were a little long on that side. And all I did was make a slight adjustment out. There's plenty of room for the baseboard and trim to cover up around there. I had started it tight to this wall, so I bumped that out 1/4 inch. And now we're within 1/8 across. So they should be running parallel. The lines that you see getting close to this door should be parallel to the door. On this side, everything's going to be parallel. You can see the T-molding's already in, looks good. There's a little bit of room on that T-molding to get it adjusted just perfectly. So So I'm going to pull this all up and put down my chemical-free red rosin paper. Here's a little bit of background information. The customer has gone through every piece of wood and has very specific stacks of where they want the wood. So this wood over here goes underneath cabinets. Then I have main field areas, and then I have some that are just straight up rejected. With the pre-finished flooring, go slower because you are saving time by it all being done. You got to make sure that your seams are tight. If you're installing unfinished floor, you get it good. You nail it all together, and then you go over and you fill the entire floor. So every little gap and crack is filled, then you sand it, and then there's a whole nother process after that. So you're going to see me going slower than you would normally see someone install unfinished wood floor. It's not a big area, and I want to make sure everything is nice and tight. Right now it's 27% humidity inside the house. It's been fluctuating from 27% on the lower end up to 32%. Right around 30% humidity is what everything is acclimated to. Underneath the cabinets, and to get things started, I'm going to be face nailing with a 15 gauge brad nailer. Once it comes to the field, I'll be using my hardwood flooring nailer. That's a 15 gauge, 1/2 inch crown, 2 inch coated flooring staples. I'll show you more about those once we get started with that. I want to get started and get moving, then I'm going to have to pull this paper up and try to locate that floor squeak and get some screws in there. One last thing, jigsaw and a circular saw are what I'm going to use to cut this wood. Out on the deck, at the edge of the deck, zip right off to length. Use the jigsaw for a little bit of working around doorways. Alright. Got a great start, but now I can't ignore it any longer. Gotta get this floor squeak figured out so I can keep on trucking. My guess is it's something in the ceiling. It's definitely on this joist here, not this one. It could be why these are all missed. Missed the joist. It's sunk home. So the way these houses are built is these TJIs have glue on them. Then they put the floor sheeting down. They should not have leaks. I know there's something in the ceiling here. I may have to go downstairs and look. Alright, let's go downstairs and look. Okay, so hopefully this shows. There's my screw right there. Just hit the side of it. But what you can also see is all that glue squeeze out. Right up in there, see the glue squeeze out. I'm going to pan back and show you what we're working with here. We got a drop ceiling, and we've got ductwork, and we've got a swing right there. So my guess is it is definitely not the subfloor nail squeaking, and it's something related to this drop ceiling. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on working, and then I'll come back, put my head up in this this drop ceiling here and see what's squeaking. There's a good chance that it is the ductwork that's in there, a hanger for the ductwork. This swing here could have loosened some things up, but I'm going to keep on trucking. This one is too light. Maybe we'll stick that one there. I need to span this. I want a big daddy. Maybe we'll do this one here. Can't put that one in. So the custom, fill up this spot, fill up this area in front of the door with the best pieces, the worst in the tiny little short pieces like this. There's a lot of these things in these boxes. Putting these all underneath the cabinets, I'll put them underneath the refrigerator, underneath the oven, underneath the dishwasher, and try to keep the larger ones mix matched so I don't have a whole bunch of teeny little ones like this out in the field. Some of them have the tongues broke off, some of them have some waning on the bottom. They all got to get pulled. Very few have had any damage on the top. I pulled one out that had a little sliver taken off of it. We're halfway through day 2. I'm going to go over a few of the things that I'm using. I already mentioned the rosin paper, which is not necessary. You could just go down over your subfloor. This is in a new house, newer house. There's a full finished basement underneath this floor. Back in the old days, you used to use felt paper. Some people believed that it was a moisture barrier. Even though you're putting thousands upon thousands of little holes through it, it's not a moisture barrier. It's not intended to be a moisture barrier. Some people believed that you put down the felt paper or the underlayment to prevent squeaks, which is silly. You don't get squeaks from your wood sliding on the subfloor. You get squeaks from your hardwood floor rubbing on other hardwood floor, the board next to it, or a loose nail or staple. Oh, then there is to have some sort of uncoupling membrane, kind of like tile, where the wood expands and contracts at a different rate than the subfloor, which is also hogwash. So you might be asking,
Why the heck did you put it down?
well, it gives you a nice clean surface to work on. You can easily see if you missed a staple because there'll be a little rip there. Paper helps me slide the boards around. Basically why I do it. If this wasn't here, some of the OSB might chip up, might create some splinters. I'd have that underneath the board. This gives you a nice, clean, smooth surface to work on. When new houses are built, they spray the texture all over. Just spray it like a bomb went off, and it all lands on the floor. So there's a whole bunch of drywall texture kind of around the perimeter on this subfloor. You slide these boards around, you start chipping that up. Things get a little dirty, things get messy, you get it on your new floor. Speaking of the new floor, this is
Made in America.
It's called American Spirit Premium Pre-Finished Hardwood Floor. Give you a shot of what it looks like here. I am pretty impressed so far. Hopefully I didn't scratch it. Nope. No scratches at all. I'm walking around all over the place on it. It seems pretty durable. I always mess it up. I'm looking at an angle, try to get a nice shimmery shine on there for you so the audience can see what this pre-finish looks like. It has a micro bevel on all four sides of the top face here. It's white oak, even though it kind of looks reddish in some of them. So why would someone choose to do a pre-finish rather than nail it, fill it, sand it some more, buff it, then do the whole coat, then do a screen, then do a coat, another coat? I think you can understand why. It's way faster to do it this way. Even though I'm going real slow and I'm checking every board. I'm looking for see if there's any splinters at the corners, put it in. But in one day, they're going to have this entire floor done. I mean, I'll probably hold off on the stair nosing and the trim until I get the cabinets in so I know where to cut my T-molding. Appliances are still hooked up. They have food in here. They're going to run the dishwasher tonight. The oven, where the heck would I put it? I guess I could put it in the living room, but it's just easier to move it much less. Just moved it a few feet. I've got about 60 seconds in moving it. I'm going to be putting this back in place and it'll be plugged in with the clock set before I leave tonight. Here's an example of a board that I won't install. And it's getting a little difficult. I've got some of the larger, nice looking boards spread out. Now I'm trying to fill in between all those larger, nice looking boards. This one looks like a pretty decent one. You flip it over, and I'm not going to put this one in. There's from here to here, there's no bottom part of this groove. I'd say about 50% of the second half of this install is me looking for boards that I can put in here. I've only got a little ways to go before I'm underneath all those cabinets and a little ways over here. Alrighty. Oh, let's see if we can do this. Well, hooking it up. So the wheels on this refrigerator are offset. The rears are narrow and the fronts are wide. And I'm in the home stretch getting this bad boy in position. And I don't have to worry about messing anything up. Real close. Does have to go that way. So I'm up a little too high. With the 2 layers of flooring, I got using the old floor because it's got foam on the bottom. We're almost in place, but I still got to scoot that way about 6 inches. Yeah! Woo! Perfect! In the home stretch, don't mess it up now. Oh man, my lower back is kicking my tush. How would you mess this up? You would scratch the floor. Don't scratch the floor. Don't scratch the floor. Yeah. Oh my land. Come on, baby. What was that? Man.
Yeah!
I have to tell you, did I complain about that hardwood? I did complain that I had to sort through quite a bit of it to get the best pieces. What is that? Not just a little shoe scuff. So several times I've been walking around through here. I'm like, oh no, is that a scratch? And I wipe my hand and it's not a scratch. It's just a little piece of dust or something. So I did not scratch this floor installing it. Can confidently say that. At least I haven't found it yet. And the installer's eye is like a superhuman eye to any mistakes. And it's kind of a curse that people who do this sort of thing for a living, they can't go anywhere without this superhuman eye that will focus in on every seam. Oh, let's go check out their hardwood floors. I wonder if I can slip a dollar bill in there. Now, when I used to build houses, almost all the houses had oak flooring. And we would have to set expectations to the customers about their flooring. That it will expand, it will contract. And we even used, I believe, if you can fit a quarter in there in the winter time, that's still within industry specifications. It may have been a penny, I'm not sure. But we used a coin, keep in mind it was going back several years, as a unit of measure to explain to a customer that was buying a very expensive house that they will see this floor expand and contract. In the summertime, the springtime, your gaps will shrink. In the wintertime, you will have gaps. There's no way around it. You're gonna have gaps. Like I said, right now I'm sitting at about 30% humidity. I have to go check my little, I got a little gauge so I can monitor it. It's best to do floor installs that are full solid wood in either the fall or the spring. So you're catching the humidity swing halfway. So if you do it in the dead of winter, your wood's gonna be pretty darn dry. And then it will swell up as springtime, summertime comes in, it'll start drying out again, all the way back to winter. So if you do it in spring or fall, you can kind of get it in the middle. The next phase is the base cabinets. The customer is out right now at a granite fabricator with the design, getting pricing and trying to set up a measure date. So that could be tomorrow. Hopefully it's not tomorrow, but I'm gonna do a full cleanup. I gotta take all my flooring tools home and come back with my laser level, all my levels, my shims, special screws to install cabinets, and get the base cabinets 100% installed so that the countertop company can measure. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Got a little enthusiastic on that one.